Well, what's up? In one of my previous videos, I basically accidentally combined. I was a little too buzzed, and I combined two stories into one. One about me losing my virginity, and another one about me being asexual or coming out as asexual. Um, I guess this is really more of an altered or shortened version of me realizing that I'm asexual. And that is that well, basically just growing up, especially with the movie Free Willy, like even a little bit before this, but this is kind of the movie that kind of, I guess, opened it up to me. And they asked him if he had a girlfriend, and he was like, "Well, what makes you think I want one?" And I was just thinking that, and I just for I don't know why, but it just made me think me over about that part constantly for years, actually. And even during the first thought of me having that or so, I was like, yeah. I mean, what is the use of one anyway? So for a while now, that used to just be my go-to thought for why I just wanted to be single. And then up until I didn't really try at all in elementary school because I just I was always told I was too young, so I just kind of listened to that. Then I didn't really try in middle school. Then again, I was kind of an outcast in middle school up until 8th grade. Somehow in 8th grade, all of a sudden, I was one of the popular kids or popular-ish kids. But it never really kind of dawned on me. Not even for like, I guess, our version or prom for 8th grade. It just never really synced with me. I just kind of wanted to go stag. I thought that was a little more fun. So that's what I did. Didn't really regret it. Still don't. Sophomore year, freshman year, I guess, was me kind of getting the thoughts of wanting to do so. But it just never, again, it only moved as far as thoughts. It never really went as far as me trying or me really going out of my way to try to impress whoever I was trying to impress. It was just like, it was just me really seeing the difference between thinking it and reality of actually doing it. And the reality just, I don't know, maybe it was just procrastination, laziness, subconscious, just telling me beforehand, before realizing. I don't know, take your pick, but it just never really synced in. Although I did feel like sophomore year, if I stayed in the same school as I did in sophomore year as I did freshman year, I felt like it might have happened, but obviously I didn't think that strong of a thought if I ended up moving schools to a completely different state. And for the next 3.5 years when I stayed in that new school in Michigan, I think that was kind of when I tried the most, but I didn't just go out open and say I wanted to be in a relationship or I like you a lot or something like that. It just, I think I was trying to be a little too subtle and just came out as creepy. Even nowadays, I can understand the whole, I was trying to come out of my shell, but I was trying to do it without taking all the steps. I was just trying to jump in to a whole new state of mind, a whole new state, a whole new school. Like I said, literally a whole new state of mind. And thinking back on it, I can see that it just made me seem creepy, not just towards the person or the people I was trying to impress, just towards everybody in my class. And that kind of continued on. I mean, I got a little better near the end of sophomore year, but senior. Yeah, I was right the first time, junior year. And then by senior year, I was kind of already getting in my comfort zone to where it wasn't creepy. It was way more toned down. But by that time, again, the thoughts that I had back in freshman year of just thinking and not really act on it, it all came back to me again. And that's kind of what happened. And then eventually, in February 2012, so within my senior year, I overnight or over the weekend moved back from Michigan to Kentucky, and went back to my old school that I went to in freshman year. And it was really more about just hanging out, getting back in touch with friends, and just hanging out with friends. I guess back forward to my junior prom, almost a year before that. Well, my dad was just kind of a dick, and again, I think that whole year was just me trying to get into my comfort zone without, to actually be able to actually be with the crowd and not be the one that stands out because they're the kind of the creep or the weirdo, even though weirdo is more accepted than a creep or a freak. And I definitely feel like I was a little more of a creep than anything. Just because I was, again, trying to be sociable a little too fast when I was years inexperienced. Like, I was trying to basically different state of minds didn't help with that either. But I think I was just trying to do what I did in elementary school or 6th grade with a whole class full of very intelligent 10th graders all around me. And then again, it took me a while to get adjusted to that. And even in the midst of that, I guess, I don't know if this is a legitimate reason or not, but part of the reason why I didn't really try so hard is because my dad was kind of a psychotic dick, to where he just, I knew if I brought people over or if I invited people to a set event, I knew I would immediately get a 3-hour lecture about why it's bad to hang out with said person, how it's not the will of God for me to hang out with them and all that. He was just he was in a very religious cult for like 15 years at that point. So he was very adjusted to the occult that he was in. And they disguised themselves as a die-hard Christian group, but they were so much the people that if they were complimenting you, you didn't know it, even if they told you that they were complimenting you. And again, they would judge everybody. They would downgrade everybody and everything that came towards them. Even if they stayed with them, they would still get just as downgraded, just as much, if not worse, than the people that knew them. But that's getting sidetracked a little bit, but I knew that if I introduced anybody to my dad, let alone everybody in the church, because apparently once you introduced them to your parent, you had to introduce them to your church if it got passed through or something like that. So I just obviously did not want to go through all that process and put somebody through that bullshit. So I was like, you know what, I'm just not even really going to try. It's not worth going through all that all that hassle and bullshit, so really not worth it. So by, again, junior prom, I just kind of decided along with that just to go stag. And again, I was secretly hanging out with friends behind my dad's back. It was very easy to sneak around him. And but again, the whole process of trying to get a girl, of wanting to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend for that matter, just didn't really sync with me. It was really more of having fun with my friends. And that definitely clicked in for me for junior prom. And then fast forward back to when I'm moving back to Kentucky, and then it's just me getting adjusted with all the friends I came close to in both middle and freshman year. It was definitely a great experience. Lunchtime was definitely something to look forward to just because all my friends were there. And again, senior year, I wasn't really trying to get a girlfriend or anything. I was just too busy having fun with my friends. And so senior year, I decided to just go by myself, even though I was with a better parent than my father. But that's not saying much. But I was still with a better parent than my father was. But again, it was just so lost in hanging out with friends. So I went stag senior prom, and it became just as good of an experience as junior prom and vice versa. And then graduation happened, and all throughout the next, the remainder of 2012, I was just hanging out with my friends and getting high. Like, that was the first, the first time I smoked weed was like a year ago in 2011. And so by that point, me and my friends, we got high for the first time, senior sign up. And since then, we just, we just kind of hung out because we just wanted to get high because we were getting high for the first year in our lives. So of course we wanted to do that. I mean, granted, I was the only one with a job and had money, and I think that was a huge reason why they hung out with me too. Actually, I think that is the whole reason why they hang out with me. But, you know, again, going back to the whole friend thing, just hanging out with them, rather hang with them. Didn't really try to get a girlfriend. At this point, I realized, or a boyfriend, at this point I just realized the relationship would block me away from my friends. And I'd much rather hang out with my friends, get high, talk about our pipe dreams, try to make our pipe dreams reality, more than I thought about having a relationship. And this is around the time where somebody told me I was honored to actually be single, to the point from like 2003 to 2014 while I was still in Kentucky. Never really tried, just wanted to hang out with friends, and every time they got in a relationship, I always thought that it would hold them back from hanging out with the rest of us, and we'd feel a little left out. And unfortunately, in return, I think we kind of made the boyfriends and girlfriends of said people left out, and that's what caused a lot of the breakups. I definitely feel bad about that, though. But then I moved to Denver, never really got that sociable. I was really more about going from my housing program to trying to get into a housing, to going to work, to having fun by myself, going to the theaters and spending like $100 every weekend, 70 of which just on the theaters alone. And then last December, a year ago actually, I moved to St. Thomas, where I am now. And again, that whole year, you know, this whole year I haven't really been trying to even have friends, actually, because I don't really see me being here this long. I actually kind of see myself leaving here in January 2010, and my roommate knows this from the get-go, so it's not like I'm backstabbing him or anything like that. But, you know, never really tried. Again, and this is now 2016. This is the incident that I said it in High Quality Stories, where I almost got raped in March. And if you watch my last video, that kind of devolved me into realizing that maybe I'm not straight, homosexual, bisexual. Maybe I am actually asexual. You know, and then again, the incidents that, you know, if you watch my last video about the whole almost getting raped, the possibility of me almost having to do roadhead to get a ride, and me losing my virginity for the first time, all that just kind of made me realize, especially losing my virginity, the one time where it was consensual. Granted, the other two times didn't happen. They were close calls. It made me realize that, again, after everything I just said in the past 12 and a half minutes, just all made me realize that, okay, I'm asexual. And at this point now, I've really come to accept it. This is why I'm doing this video, and why I kind of did the last video, even though the last video was not supposed to go into this conversation. I was just too buzzed to stop myself. But anyway, that's why I made these videos, to basically for me coming out as asexual. Some people don't see asexuality as a possibility, but I mean, I guarantee that it is. Obviously, they say Sir Isaac Newton was asexual. They also say he was a virgin too. They say that not many stories, but there's really no record of asexuality between people. But I guarantee it's just as genetic as homosexuality is for a family full of heterosexuals. Just as much as it's genetic for people to be bisexual. I think asexuality is just as genetic. So anyway, this is me coming out. Who knows, maybe this might help out other closeted asexuals, or maybe even help people come out of the closet for whatever sexuality they have or lack thereof. But anyway, that's my shortened or altered video of me coming out as asexual. And thank you for sitting through these 14 and a half minutes with me. You know, this is meant to be a shortened version, and it only ended up being 7 minutes smaller. So what are you going to do? Anyway, have a good one, and peace.